Well, it was good while it lasted. The 200 kilos streak is finished. Um, Basically, I kind of understand a few things now. So it is 5 o'clock in the morning. Woke up 45 minutes ago to train before work. Um, Basically, it's early. I'm stiff as a board. Um, I had 5.5 hours of sleep. I knew today was going to be difficult because, well, a number of issues. Number one, I'm training at home, so I can't start with pin squats to wake my central nervous system up because it would make too much noise. I've got neighbors basically a meter away from me. So I can't do that. So I opted out for like a quieter option and do some RDLs to kind of warm up the posterior chain. Worked up to 120 RDLs. Then I went to squats, still feeling very stiff. The bar felt heavy. Everything feels heavy. The hips don't even feel like they've unglued themselves from sleep. My spine is all tight. My hips are all tight. And the moment I started squatting, I knew if I loaded more weight on the bar today, I would literally get hip pain. It's simple as that. Now I know that the origin of hip pain is clearly training when not loose, when not warmed up. Today I worked up to 150. Just feels off. Feels very, very off. I thought about dropping the weight down and doing some more warm-ups. Getting everything looser, and then try and having a 200 kilo. But I'm so far away from 200. Doing 200 would be silly. So I'm gonna take it as it is. End of the streak. It's like 6 degrees, so I'm laid up. It's early. I'm stiff. I'm fasted. Literally everything that could go against me has gone against me this workout. And now I'm just basically sitting here and thinking to myself, the value of having, the free time to train, to have a meal, to wake up, to get warm, all those things that kind of led me to have really good workouts. It's night and day when it comes to the performances that you can do when you're fully ready, versus when you are waking up at 4:30 in the morning to do a session, and to do a session really quickly, within 45 minutes. So I'm not upset in terms of, damn, like the 200 streak is over. I knew the moment I go back to work it was going to be difficult. I just didn't know that my body would respond like this. Literally my hips feel like, I know the sensations. If I pushed further, I'd get that hip pain. So now I kind of know, because I have contrast in my head, what it feels like to lift when you are loose, when you are ready, when your hip flexors are open, when everything's kind of warmed up, when you've walked around a little bit, you know what I mean? Like, when you wake up at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning and then you walk around for 3-4 hours and you move around and you have breakfast and all that stuff. There's steps there, there's movement there, and by the time you get to a barbell, you're kind of already loose. But to get from the bed, walk over to the bathroom, freshen up a little bit, and come out here and literally within 15 minutes start doing exercises, the body's just like, what the hell are you doing, man? You're loading me literally, 20-25 minutes, after waking up. So I just, basically these workouts in the morning are just going to be non-events really. That's basically it, man. I don't know what else to say except what I've already said. I am disappointed. I'm not pissed off, but I am disappointed that the contrast is so much. I never really knew the difference was going to be this much, but the moment I started feeling the hips just not wanting to budge, that kind of like grindy feeling, which I know that if I push that further, that TFL manifestation, even though it's got probably nothing to do with the TFL, it's got something to do with the capsule not freely moving in the joint, it would just cause me havoc. But there you go. I mean, if I was to wake up like an hour earlier and warm up properly, like spend some time with the barbell, like flicking it around, squatting, all the quiet kind of movements that I can get away with in a home kind of setup without making too much noise, I would do it. But literally that would mean like no sleep at all. So there's no point in doing that. I'm just trying to think to myself, like, moving forward, how do I play this? How do I go about setting this up? Is there any value going up to 150? Previously when I, was working, I would often hit 180 before work. So that kind of gets me thinking, why couldn't I hit 180 today? Maybe because I haven't had like a morning routine for such a long time. My body was just like, what the hell are you doing, man? Like, why are you doing this? Because I'm just so used to the last kind of 3 weeks, waking up, having that nice kind of run up to the bar. But the moment I started squatting the bar, I knew, my God, my hips feel jacked. Everything feels like, and it's cold as well. My feet are cold. My ankles are frozen, so I've got no dorsiflexion, so I'm going deeper into my hip. My hip is pissed off, and because of all of that, I can't get out of the hole properly. It just goes to show you the value of the pin squats. Like, when you do the pin squats, you kind of introduce that range of motion to the hip. So you kind of start from a really, really, shallow range of motion. You kind of warm that up and you load that up really, really hard. You kind of wake up the CNS, the core, your hips kind of wake up, and then you kind of progress to that deeper squat, and you kind of feel much more ready. So maybe my body was kind of used to that. I mean, I've been doing pin squats for I don't know how many days in a row now, but there's so much value in that. And then all of a sudden, I come in here and do some RDLs, and then I completely change the routine, and I try to go straight into squatting, which there's no point. I probably could have spent more time this morning, even though I don't have that time, to kind of warm up a little bit better. But I knew it was going to be silly. I knew it was going to be very, very silly to kind of push 180, 190, 200 today, because just literally, I don't have it in me. So it is what it is. I think a large part of all of this is it's freaking cold. It's also very, very cold. Like I've put up some cold fluids in here, and so some warm fluids. I'm trying to kind of drink that, but basically it's a combination of all those factors, plus that it's time restraint, constraint. I can't spend a lot of time in here this morning, and it's cold and it's early and I'm fasted. All those things, all those freaking excuses that you can put on the plate. But anyway, I knew the 200 kilo streak was going to end up finishing eventually. I just didn't know it was going to be freaking literally on day one of going back to work. But such is life. I'm just thinking in the back of my head right now, like, how do I play this? I'm thinking about like literally wrapping those pins, those safety pins, with like a blanket or like a towel or something, just to kind of prevent the sound from clacking on the pins, so it's not metal on metal. So I can kind of like deaden the sound a little bit, so it's a little bit more quieter, I guess. But I think the pin squats have done a lot to me. I think it's fair to say that the whole recovery versus pin squats kind of debate that I had in my head, this whole kind of these holidays. I don't want to conclude too early, but like I haven't not had recovery in the last, like, of course I haven't slept fully tonight or eaten, but I don't think the reservoir would empty freaking one early morning. So I think a good proper warm up goes a long way, and I think using the pin squats also goes a very, very long way. Loading up the hip in an ATG position 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning is silly. Straight out of bed. I think there needs to be some movements beforehand. Clearly RDLs didn't work this morning. I thought warming up the hamstrings would kind of let go of the posterior chain and it would let me sink into the hole, but I think the hip capsule just hasn't had enough time to warm up. Even as I'm sitting here, I'm like stiff as all hell. So I didn't do anything yesterday that would kind of bring this on at all. It's pretty much a normal day other than just introducing the RDLs. But I think warming up is the key, especially in these 5 o'clock sessions. So maybe the next few days, next few shifts, I'll try and think of a way that I can kind of deaden the sound of the bar hitting the pins. I mean, I can go quietly and, do those 220 kilo pin squats quietly, but one wrong move and you can imagine a high pitched sound, how far it will travel if I bang the bar against the pins. And I'm not like that. I don't want to be an idiot waking up neighbors, at 4:45 in the morning. I mean, that's just idiotic. Anyway, guys, kind of disappointed this morning, but it is what it is, man. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.